2 days ago, on June 16th, I put out a video on my main YouTube channel entitled "Trump's Iran Deal Looks an Awful Lot Like a Surrender," and I would like to revise that statement now. Yesterday in Versailles, Donald Trump, completely oblivious to the historical significance of signing this document in that location, basically gave Iran everything, basically admitted the U.S. has lost in Iran, and we're going to fork over potentially $300 billion after the more than likely $100 billion and 13 American lives that have already been lost and thousands of Iranian lives.
Yes.
Bravo.
You signed the deal?
You signed the MOU?
It's signed, yeah. You signed? I signed it in Versailles. Why did you sign it?
The stories?
So this, what is it, 14-point MOU that Trump signed is pretty devastating. Remember when Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump said that they would accept nothing less than total surrender from Iran, and yet the U.S. just fucking rolled over, right? In my thumbnail of my video 2 days ago, I had Donald Trump waving a white flag, and that is effectively what he has done. The Trump regime is all about the bluster, but they're not legitimate strongmen. They're not legitimate fascists. They just cosplay as them. It is cargo cult fascism. These men do not understand how to wage a war, and that is what is so much more important than this surrender itself. Now, Donald Trump's former advisor, John Bolton, is not wrong when Trump and other members of the regime are like, yeah, $300 billion to rebuild Iran with an Ayatollah still in control. But we're not going to pay for that. The U.S. isn't going to pay for that. That's not how this MOU is worded.
When it comes to the $300 billion fund that he says we're not going to put any money into.
It's been reported that it includes a $300 billion reconstruction fund funded by Gulf allies. That's false?
It's false. People, you can invest if you want. I mean, what am I going to do? Say nobody's ever allowed to invest? No, we're not investing. We're not putting up 10 cents. And people can decide to do that, but that's up to them.
The document says very clearly the United States undertakes, that's us, to create this fund. And at the end of a long sentence, it says, comma, while ensuring financing of at least $300 billion, while ensuring. We call that a guarantee, and we're the guarantor. So if the Saudis and the Emiratis don't want to pump up $300 billion, it's coming from us.
It's a better deal than President Obama got.
No.
Well, no, it's not. It's not really comparable, but it's a political surrender.
Yeah, that's correct. It's a surrender because Donald Trump is a big fat loser, and because he put a day drunk Fox News host in charge of the Department of Defense, in charge of a complex military operation after the Department of Defense fired all of its capable generals and put a bunch of loyalists and sycophants in their place. You guys, I understand that on some level, what Trump wants is to wreck everything, to get revenge on all of us, but he doesn't like this humiliation at all. He wanted to win in Iran. He wanted to be big and powerful in Iran. He wanted that war to go on for a lot longer so that he could justify all of the other government contracts and grift and fucking around with the midterms. This catastrophic loss for him is not something that he wanted, but it was an inevitability when you put inept boobs in positions of power. When you put people in charge of complex, skilled operations who are not complex people and have no skills, you end up with a completely bungled, disastrous nightmare that you have to that you have to, back out of with some attempt to save face, but there was no capability here for Donald Trump to save any face. I know they're trying to make it sound like this is great, we got a deal. It's not a deal. It's not a deal. It's a humiliating loss for the American people. And I know that there's a lot of Republican war hawks who are real mad right now because they wanted nothing less than the complete surrender of Iran, because that's what Donald Trump and Day Drunk Pete promised them. But you guys put a Fox News, you put all of your chips in behind Donald Trump and a Fox News host, and you thought that was going to be a successful military war of choice in Iran. You thought that was going to end in total surrender.
Said this MOU appears to be, just from the text, a disaster that does not achieve any of the actual signal goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. There were effectively 5 goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. One was ending the nuclear program, not just nuclear weapons, no nuclear enrichment, zero enrichment. That is not in the deal. Ballistic missiles ended. That is not in the deal. And the president today suggested that ballistic missiles should actually continue to be held by the Iranians because the Saudis, our allies, also hold ballistic missiles. Then you have the support of terrorism. That is not part of the deal. Anything that looks like an attempt to end terrorism. A permanent opening of the Strait of Hormuz toll-free. Not only is that not in the deal appears to have a provision allowing Iran and Oman to attempt to toll the strait after 60 days. And then finally, the idea that Iran would receive some sort of sanctions relief after all of those things happen. We are already seeing from day one relief in their ability to ship oil out of Iran. In my opinion, the Vice President of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president.
They're better off than they were before the hostilities began.
There's also a lot of talk about this $300 billion fund that they may soon have access to. Nobody is disputing that that is a thing.
I hate to say this. In this deal, the biggest loser is the United States and India.
You negotiate from strength. You don't give people money.
I will say that the early returns do not look wildly promising at this point.
America has given up all of its leverage in this situation.
Let's be very clear. This is the vice president's deal. It does not have support.
The regime has not changed. They're just richer.
I do have concerns about the memorandum of understanding.
I didn't believe it. I thought somebody was spoofing me.
Unless you were homeschooled by a day drinker, no one's confident that Iran's going to do anything.
How about the guys and gals that bled and died on our country's behalf? Well, where's their fund? I didn't see that in MOU.
This doesn't feel like a victory.
And, you know, I understand there is that Rage Against the Machine song that is based off of a poem, had to be playing on the jukebox. And one of the lines is, one mind, brute force, and full of money. And that is how the Republican establishment viewed this operation, right? Total surrender. We're one mind, we want total surrender. We're going to use brute force, and we got a shit ton of money. We got all the American taxpayers' money. And so we're going to win because we're America. We are going to win. If we start a conflict, we're going to come out on top. We can bully anybody in the Middle East into doing what we want. We will win. And we didn't. We got our asses handed to us. And that is the big takeaway. It is so much more than a surrender because it is a complete shift in the dynamic. It is a complete shift. The whole world has watched this humiliation unfold. Our power is so diminished. We can have all of the money. We can have the best trained military. We can have all of the resources, all of the intelligence, and we still lose. We cannot come in and be like, might makes right, you're going to do what we say. There is now no longer this expectation. Our reputation is utterly demolished.
I can understand why the president didn't want to release the text of this agreement because it is further evidence that the president has lost a war that he never should have started in the first place. This agreement, the points in this agreement, in provision number 10, which you just read, is a massive gift to Iran, and it comes at great cost to the American people. You know, this agreement sets up a huge sum of money to be paid to the Islamic Republic of Iran in the form of sanctions relief, unfreezing assets, a $300 billion economic development fund, and for what? No progress on the nuclear front? This is an outrage, and I can understand why the president did not want to be transparent about it.
Donald Trump has successfully further radicalized the Middle East, spent tens of billions of American taxpayer dollars. 13 American service members lost their lives. More than 200 were injured. Our strategic oil reserves are being depleted and gas prices are through the roof.
Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam? Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam?
Oh, and Trump let Russia sell oil during this time, and Iran gets to sell their oil, and Bibi Netanyahu got what he wanted. What about the American people? Name a single way this has benefited any of us, because now, the Strait of Hormuz was opened before Obama had a $1.7 billion deal. Now Donald Trump is going to spend $300 billion of our money, and Iran can basically just close the strait down whenever they want. All this has done is shown the entire world that we had all of the money, we had the big military, we had the reputation of being a bully who can muscle our way in and get what we want. We had all of the resources, and we bungled it.
This will go down as a tremendous foreign policy blunder. Iran ends up stronger, our allies in the region are weaker, and Iran has learned that if they're willing to grab that Strait of Hormuz and choke it off, they can get the Western world to dance to their tune. I think it's a deep mistake.
Not we. You guys, the American people didn't want this. Overwhelmingly, the American people did not want this. Donald Trump and the Republicans, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, they bungled this. They humiliated all of us. They committed atrocities. They wasted giant quantities of taxpayer dollars, and they have continued to diminish the United States on the world stage. Republicans and Donald Trump. Trumpism is a party that is taking this country backward. They are making us less. They are causing us to diminish in every possible way. We are weaker, we are less secure, we are ridiculed because of Donald Trump and the Republicans. I just want to say one more time, Iran did not have to win a single battle, and they won this entire war. They won this entire war, and Donald Trump signing this MOU in Versailles is just so emblematic. Votes have consequences, you guys. Anybody who is watching all of this unfold right now, and I know there's a lot of Republicans who didn't want this war, a lot of Republicans who are really mad at all of this. Okay, well, then you better work to fix it, because it's going to require all of us. It does require all of us right now working to fix this mess, or it will be more humiliation, more decline for the United States. It will be more insecurity. Everything will get more expensive, because Donald Trump isn't going to get smarter, more sophisticated. He's not going to get healthier or stronger. He's not going to make better choices. Pete Hegseth is not going to get sober. He's not going to suddenly learn the skills to command the Department of Defense. All of the qualified generals have been fired. Things are not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse and worse under Donald Trump until we stop it. Until we, the people, decide that we have had enough with this shit. We've had enough with the war crimes. We've had enough with him wrecking this country and bombing little children with our taxpayer dollars, giving billions and billions of our taxpayer dollars to fucking Peter Thiel and Palantir and Elon Musk so that they can use it to commit war crimes abroad. When have we had enough, y'all? I don't know about you, but I have had enough. We need a massive get out the vote movement in November. It's got to be too big to rig, and then we have to be prepared for the fact that the kind of fuckwits who have done all of this mess and have gotten this position where they're waving the white flag, they're not going to wave the white flag in November when they lose unless we show up and defend the results of the midterms. So get ready, y'all. What do you need to do in your community? Get ready.